Hello, everybody.
Well, hello there.
Welcome to another episode of the Real Football Fans of New Jersey, episode 228. Lonnie, you're
Tutu.
rocking your I decorated, I cooked, I made it nice sweatshirt. We have the one of these days we need to coordinate and wear them on the same episode because we do have matching sweaters.
We do. I went with Dorinda and Housewives tonight because I'm on a football ban because Alabama lost again. I'm very upset, right? I'm in a very dark place with Alabama. And the Giants happen to be on a bye week, but happen to lose the bye week because of Xavier McKinney being injured. I don't know how it's physically possible to lose a bye week, but we did lose a bye week. So I am just on a ban until this weekend for football. So for the people, I decorated, I cooked, I made it nice. So that's my mood for it.
Let's make it nice this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, we better make it nice. So that's all I have to say.
Well, like I said, this is episode 228. We got a lot of good things for you tonight in the world of football, in the world of Housewives. We do want to start off our show with some poll results. We did poll you guys on our social media outlets, so thank you so much for engaging in that. We have 3 poll questions here. We're going to dive right into it. The first one is clearly a very juicy one. So, Caitlin, I can't even remember what your answer was. Maybe we'll be debating each other, but
I don't think I looked at what you voted, to be honest. So I'm in for a surprise.
Question number 1, which team do you trust more this season? The 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles or the 6-2 Buffalo Bills? Listen, this has happened maybe twice, maybe 3 times tops ever on the history of our show. We have a dead even 50-50 tie on this one. So that was very surprising. Kate, I don't know if we're 50-50 on this. Remind me what you went with.
Well, I'm actually pretty happy that it's 50-50 because I think what I was receiving on my end through Instagram and then on our Twitter for the show, I was getting not what I had voted for. So I was kind of like, shit. So I'm happy to see that your followers were a little bit inspired. I actually went with the Philadelphia Eagles on this one. And it burns kind of your esophagus when you say that your esophagus, I like to say it like that. It burns to say that you trust the Philadelphia Eagles, but I don't, we talk about this time and time again, Katie. Going undefeated in the NFL is a really hard thing to do. Really, really hard. I know we're not near the end of the season yet. We've got some football to play, but I've looked at the Eagles' schedule. We've looked at it. We've analyzed it on this show. And at this point, I just don't think anyone can stop them. I would like some more, challengers in their way. I think Buffalo has come up against a little bit more of a challenge in some particular games. But then you look at last week and Buffalo should not have lost that game at all. If you are the true Buffalo Bills, I know. You are not losing that game. I just don't know if Philly will fall. I might contradict myself a little later in the show. I mean, I do want them to fall. So that was a bit of a spoiler alert later. I do want them to, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. And I think just week after week, and I said this, I think last episode or 226, it's just consistency up and down the field. And we're finding some dark areas on other teams that I don't know if they have that at this point, or they just haven't exposed it. So I guess with the trust factor, everything you've seen from 8 games, you kind of do trust it. So,
okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Number 1, just because I did go with the Bills.
Okay. So we are all right.
Theme with our, the people that voted because we are 50-50 split.
Okay.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that, yes, I agree with you. We've talked about it. We've looked at the remaining regular season schedule for the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's really hard to pinpoint a game where we really feel is threatening to them to find themselves in the loss column. But I'm looking ahead. And obviously these 2 teams are going to be in the playoffs. And I ran with it the whole way, not just in the regular season, of who do I still trust in the postseason as well to potentially win a Super Bowl. I just, in my gut, feel like I would bet my money on the Bills before I bet on the Eagles to win a Super Bowl this year. I think what's going to
Yeah.
help Philly is I do feel as though the NFC is extremely weak this season. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of, even like the regular season, we don't
Right.
see a lot of threats. I don't think they're going to really see crazy threats in the postseason as well. But if they do reach the Super Bowl, which is hard to do, I just feel like there's some strong AFC teams, and leading the way is the Buffalo Bills. And let's say in a world where those two faced each other in the Super Bowl, I'm still going with my preseason pick to win it, and I'm going with the Bills.
Yep.
All right, question number 2. Again, a theme of trust. Who do you trust more to be a long-term franchise quarterback for their team? The Jets' Zach Wilson or Chicago's Justin Fields? This was close. 65% of you guys said Justin Fields for Chicago. Caitlin, what did you go with?
I'm going with the majority on this one. It's mainly from the last couple of games and the couple of plays we've seen from Justin Fields. You know, we've seen him come out of the gate early this season, and even a couple of games that they threw him in last season where it was a scramble. You know, he looks like he's confused. He doesn't know how to control his team. But he's in there. It's like a deer in a headlight. What I've seen over the past couple of weeks is a quarterback that actually can move his team up the field and that can make plays on his own. What we haven't seen from Zach Wilson yet is him actually taking ownership of the game, running with the ball if he needs to, actually making a play call to run the ball as opposed to throwing it. I understand there's coaches that are telling him what to do, but you are the quarterback in charge. You need to make some certain decision. Zach Wilson's throwing the ball like 45 times a game. That's not sustainable for him, for the Jets offense at all. Justin Fields.
Shows that they trust him, though. I mean, the Chicago lets Justin Fields throw it like 10 times a game.
Right. But he's also doing other things. He's working with the players around him. He's running the ball effectively. He has been taking off in these last couple of games and moving the team. So I'm seeing the confidence finally in him. I'm still not seeing confidence in Zach Wilson. So that's where the trust comes in.
Okay. I did not go with the majority on this, and I didn't go with you. I am going with Zach Wilson. This is a hard one. Maybe you agree with me on this, but like, I don't think I necessarily trust either one of these guys.
Well, that's fair. That could have been an option.
But gun to my head, if I have to pick someone, I'm going to go with Zach Wilson. And I think that's just my bias on like the style of quarterback I like and the style of quarterback I would want for, you know, the New York Giants as a franchise. And I've always been drawn more to a pocket passer, a throw first. I think every quarterback now has to have some sort of running ability. I think that's why we're seeing like a guy like Tom Brady struggle a bit this season, because when things collapse and all goes to shit and your offensive line is, you know, leaving you hanging, you're not going anywhere. Like that's it. Plays over.
Yeah.
So I think every quarterback now, all these young guys coming in, you have to have some sort of mobility. But I want the guy that's going to try to pass first. And then when things go to shit, like I said, then you could keep the play alive with your legs.
Yeah.
So number one, not sustainable is being like almost like a run first quarterback. I mean, we've seen things in the past like RG3 and what that did to his career. And I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like Justin Fields is like a bootleg, like Kyler Murray or something like that.
I don't know. Yeah.
Like, yes, he is like a good running quarterback, but I don't think he's as good as some of the other running quarterbacks in the league that maybe he's trying to model his game after or try to do a similar thing. I feel like he's the bootleg version. And again, like, I'm just going to go with the pocket passer here.
Right.
Go with Zach Wilson.
Yeah. I get that. I think with the run game that I've seen from Justin Fields over the last like couple games is that it's like a necessity. So if you compare him to like, say, like Eli, for example, Eli was just stone, kind of not moving. Like you look at a Mac Jones and like, I think Mac Jones has got a little bit more flexible in the NFL, but when he was at Bama, he stood there. He was a wall and he was not moving. So I think that Zach Wilson has the opportunity when he's not seeing a pass, when he's not able to pass it off, he needs to take it himself. And we've been so impressed with someone like Daniel Jones doing that and being effective by it. That's where more so I'm seeing and what I'm saying with Justin Fields.
Yeah.
finally confident enough to make a decision like that when he needs to. Do I think he's going to be a very successful running quarterback like a Lamar, Kyler Murray? No, I don't think that.
Right.
No.
Yeah. I think I was just biased on this one and more so like, what kind of quarterback do I want for a franchise?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I want the pass first quarterback. So
someone that could just do anything, damn it, in this league.
And last but not least, we want to know, besides the Real Football Fans of New Jersey, what podcasts
Obviously
you're listening to. So which Housewives podcast would you rather listen to? Just Be with Bethany Frankel or Namaste Bitches with Teresa Giudice? This really surprised me.
It was like overwhelming
Response, you guys. 90% of you said Namaste Bitches with Teresa Giudice. Caitlin?
It's like coming on the theme of like that yesterday was like election day. Like I kind of want to like recall our votes. I feel like do these people even like know what these two podcasts are? Because I will fully admit, like, I know the two of them have these podcasts, but like, I'm not like fully ingrained in them. Like,
right.
And like, we had a ton of votes on Twitter for Namaste Bitches. Like, that's where like the landslide came from. And I'm like, how many of you are actually listening to this show? So I don't know, but I'm just curious in that. But I was just making a joke just in the term of election day yesterday. But I went with Just Be on this one because obviously big Bethany Frankel fan. I don't get to see her anymore. Like we just get to follow her through. So, you know, if I'm more inclined to be listening to podcasts, I would probably do that one. And then I guess like with Teresa's, like she does it with that girl. I
don't know who it is. Yeah.
Her name is Melissa, which is interesting. She is she's like, I don't know how to like what to call her, but I think you would know like her face. I'm going to look up her last name right now, but what did you put for this one?
Well, I also put Namaste Bitches with Teresa, and I think this more, and I'm gonna speculate on why it was such a overwhelming response for that one. Okay. I have a feeling it has to do with the fact that like Real Housewives of New Jersey, it's the top franchise right now. It's got the juiciest stories, everything that's going on this off season of like, you know, we use that word for football, but I'm going to say off season for New Jersey has been the rumor mill of everything that's gone down between Teresa and the Gorgas. And I just feel like this is, people want to tune into hers to potentially hear like more tidbit and more info of like what's actually going down, like at least what she's able to share before the show airs. But I just feel like it's top of mind. It's like whatever she's going to talk about, like, oh, these are going to be things that like we might see on the show coming up or things that just happened on the show. Whereas Bethany hasn't been on Roni for like a while now. And much as everybody loves Bethany, Teresa is just queen bee of Housewives right now. Not only is New Jersey the top franchise, but Teresa feels like the biggest Housewives star right now. Mm-hmm. And so in a way, I am surprised that it's 90% for Teresa. In a way, I understand Housewives fans wanting to be engaged with somebody that's on the show right now and get like insider info on someone who's on the TV right now.
Yeah, that's fair. And I just looked up her co-host. I have no idea who she is. I totally lied that I knew who she was.
Yeah, so. I didn't think I knew who she was. So
no, I thought it was someone else, to be perfectly honest. It's not who I thought it was. So all righty. Well, yes, thank you guys, as always, for voting on our polls. Again, we had an overwhelming amount of votes tonight across Instagram and Twitter, so we appreciate it. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right now, so if you want to engage with us, ask any more questions, comment on anything, we are here for you guys. The easiest way to do it is Facebook, YouTube, but I do have my Twitter open, so go ahead and tweet at us if you want to do that as well. So let's get into our big stories of the week for football. So the Indianapolis Colts have fired head coach Frank Reich. On Monday, Indianapolis fired head coach Frank Reich after their third consecutive loss and a 3-5-1 record. Wright, who was hired in 2018, dealt with a revolving door of quarterbacks. Obviously, you guys have known this. Ever since Andrew Luck has retired, it's just been 7 actually quarterbacks under center during his time with the Colts. And that is a shit ton.
I knew it was a lot, but I actually, to be honest, I didn't know it was 7. That's
I would have guessed like 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah.
7 is a lot. So this is the first time in his 25 years as Indianapolis owner that Jim Irsay, I think I pronounced that wrong, but fired a coach during the season. So Wright is now the second head coach to be fired in season. He leaves Indianapolis with a 40-33-1 regular season record in 4.5 seasons and a 1-2 postseason record. So, as you know, these firings happen in season. Normally you see a offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, maybe get pulled up. I think I've seen a special teams person get pulled up into head coach for an interim role. No, the Indianapolis Colts took this in a completely different direction that I guarantee you no one had on their bingo card for this season. And this, you know what, Katie? This is the frigging icing on the cake that this is the weirdest NFL season. This is it. If this isn't it, I don't know what it is. Okay. On Monday, the team announced that longtime Indianapolis center Jeff Saturday is being named the interim head coach. Wow, surprising. What? He has 0 coaching experience at the collegiate or the professional level. He did coach a high school team in Georgia, and I think they sucked, to be honest. Other than that, he's an on-air analyst for ESPN. You see him on Get Up. You see him on all that stuff all the time. You know, he's known for his time in Indianapolis. He was, you know, the center to Peyton Manning. Like, he's very well known. He is an advisor to the Indianapolis Colts. Like, he does have a role in that position. But he's not a coach.
See, that's the thing, though. Like, you would expect this guy, an analyst who's very involved. He's been with ESPN as an analyst since 2013.
Right.
Okay? And an advisor to the Colts. It would make all sense, like, in the world for him to be involved with the front office of the Colts. To throw him into coaching just seems unfair, almost unfair to him. Like, you wouldn't think it's fair, like, oh, we're giving this guy like an opportunity that nobody else would. No, I almost feel like it's unfair. It's like you're setting him up for failure. Like,
it's stupid.
I don't know. It's very stupid. So,
well, here's what bothers me about it. You've got your defensive coordinator in Gus Bradley. He's been in the league for 33 years.
You want to know before?
You want to know who also is on their coaching staff? John Fox, like, literally one of, like, okay, like, literally has won championships before. Like, they have experienced people on their coaching staff. Yeah. Why did you make this decision? Apparently some 30-year-old kid is making the play calls this weekend. I don't know what the hell is going on in Indianapolis, but if you wanted to paint the words tank on something, you can just go down to Indianapolis and write it on their stadium, because this is what you're just showing that you want to do.
Honestly, the NFL should start investigating them, like, right now for tanking.
I'm investigating it. I've been looking at their coaching staff for the last week. That wasn't on my bingo card. I didn't want to be researching the Indianapolis Colts coaching staff for the last 3 days.
So I said on Sunday, it was the Giants bye week, and I was out at the bar for a little bit, like, watching the 1 p.m. games, watching what was going on with Indy. And I said straight up, I was like, Frank Reich is getting fired after this weekend. Like, it's happening. Like, he's gone. He's done. Yeah. Not like after the end of the season, like, no, now. Like, right. And so I wasn't surprised when that happened, but obviously the Jeff Saturday move shocked everybody.
No, that was like the thing. So, like, the announcements, like, on, like, you know, early in the week it was Frank Reich getting fired. Saw that. Actually, no, it was the Xavier McKinney news first. And then it was that. So it was like a whirlwind. I was like, oh shit, open Twitter. And then 2 seconds later, I was like, well, that one makes sense. That wasn't shocking. And then it was like moments later, and I was like, what is going on in the NFL right now? So, we'll see. Honestly, we're gonna debut this weekend, so.
All right. Well, it was a rough weekend for Indy, but let's get into the other things that happened in week 9 in the NFL season. Los Angeles Chargers kicker Cameron Dicker kicked a 37-yard game-winning field goal just 3 days after being signed as a free agent to help beat Atlanta 20-17.
They called him Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker. Running back Joe Mixon. I hope for all you fantasy people's sakes that you either had him or you did not play against him, because running back Joe Mixon led the way for Cincinnati in a 42-21 win over Carolina with 211 total scrimmage yards and 5 touchdowns. Oh my God.
You know what's worse though than not like playing against him? Katie, I went through all Sunday for some reason thinking I had him. I don't know why. I've been doing this
honestly, just shame on you. I don't have him. And I do, you know who I do this also with too? I do it with Dalvin Cook for some reason. I'm on 3 teams. I do not have Dalvin Cook on any of my teams. You would know if you had these people, and you should know if you had
No, I don't at this point. I'm like, well, my one team is a complete dumpster fire. I blame myself for that because I'm rotating people in and out like every week because it's it's not salvageable at this point, that team. I don't know what happened. But
well, I hope you didn't play against him. So
I did not. That's the good thing though. I did not. But I have this weird thing where I just think that I have these players. I don't. So
well, also worth noting in that 42-21 blowout win for Cincinnati over Carolina is that Carolina quarterback PJ Walker was replaced by Baker Mayfield after he threw for just 9 yards and 2 interceptions in the first half. It was brutal. So
they shouldn't have put Baker in though, because now we're in that. Now Carolina's in that funk.
I get it, but honestly, like PJ Walker came in when Baker Mayfield was hurt, and I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield was playing great football before PJ Walker came in because he just wasn't.
Right.
But I'm cool with them. I know we don't like the shifting, but I just feel like when Baker got healthy, like it should have just gone back to Baker. So
that's fair.
Here we are. I actually don't know. Maybe it's already been announced. Maybe it hasn't. I don't know who they plan on starting this weekend.
I have not seen.
I don't know. I don't know that yet. So we will find out. But the New York Jets, they obviously pulled off the biggest upset of the weekend with a 20-17 win over Buffalo. That was my lock pick. Thank you, Buffalo, for that. We had and speaking of like finally watching the games like at a bar, like I was just surrounded by Jets fans. And it's not that I root for the Jets to be bad, but it was really annoying. Like
just annoying. It's uncomfortable.
It was just really annoying. I was just like, okay, I'm good. Like I went home for my 4 p.m. Like the 4 p.m. game nap time for me. And then I was good. I was good.
Content.
A late game-winning field goal helped Minnesota come back to beat Washington 20-17.
Thank God. Honestly, I was going to kick Minnesota's ass.
But Washington has been on a little bit of a small little run here. So Minnesota is now 7-1, which is their best start since 2009. Honestly, like I think we talked about it last week. I think they're looking like the second best team in the NFC right now. Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady engineered a game-winning touchdown drive to get a much-needed win over the Rams 16-13. And then Kansas City defeated Tennessee 20-17 in overtime behind quarterback Patrick Mahomes' 446 passing yards. I want to let you know that who I played in fantasy was done after the 4 p.m. games on Sunday. And I was going to be done Sunday night. I had a couple people for KC. I was down like 82 points. And this is my league where the quarterbacks score like stupid numbers.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, Patrick Mahomes got me like 87 points. Marquez Valdez-Scantling got me like 2 points. And Harrison Butker got me like 1 point. But it was enough. And I won being down like 80-something points. So thank you, Patrick Mahomes. Love you. Thank you.
Please and thank you.
Yes.
No, it was another, well, honestly, just like that's another, this season has like, obviously it's been like crazy up in the air, but it's also been crazy up in there from a fantasy perspective.
Oh,
What
yeah.
you just laid out there. I mean, it's coming down to, and we're all paying attention, obviously, because we want to see what's going on in the league. We want to see our fantasy teams, but I think everyone's more honed in to every single game this season because literally everything is happening and anything can happen at this point. And you are having players that are going off for you 1 week and then maybe 3 weeks in a row they're not doing anything, and then more is coming back. So I was locked in. My one team was completely done by the 4 p.m. games, and I locked and loaded it. I know that I don't like that, to be honest, because I'm like shit. I ended up winning, thank God. I went 3-0 in fantasy this weekend, so like hell yeah.
You
and I
make it sound like it was such a horrible weekend.
No, well, yeah, because the Alabama lost, so screw them. Katie, fantasy, it's called fantasy football for a reason. It's fantasy. It's not real.
Reality versus fantasy. Reality hurts more.
It does. It really hurts. That they are really hurting me. So. Alrighty. So obviously a ton happened last weekend. I can only assume that more and more is going to happen this weekend, but I'm pumped. Every weekend I'm looking for. I just cannot wait until Sunday at these points. So no Sunday scaries here. We're looking forward to the Sundays. All right. So with that being said, we are moving into week 10. Holy shit. Where has the season gone?
I don't know.
We're at double digits now for weeks. So we are going to do what we do every single week for you. We're looking at every single game, analyzing them, and giving you our picks plus one lock and one upset for you guys. So, and there's a couple teams on bye this week. So please keep note of that for fantasy, and just if your team's on a bye, go do something on Sunday. All right, Katie, who you got this week?
All right, in week 10, I am going with Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, Detroit, Tennessee, Kansas City, Miami, the New York Giants, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas, Dallas, the Rams, San Fran, and Philly. I don't feel like there was any really legitimate, clear-cut locks this week. Made me a little nervous, but I'm going to continue to have faith in Mr. Mahomes, and I'm going to go with KC over Jacksonville. My upset, this is technically an upset as far as lines and who's favored right now. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions over the Chicago Bears.
Okay. And I actually just realized that I screwed up my lock pick. So hold on one second. Okay. I fixed it now. I don't know why it was all the way up there. I think I draw it in like paint. So I think it got shifted up. Okay. So I do things very technically on the back end here. I'm using Microsoft Paint.
That is so funny.
Oh God. No one come after me for that.
Oh, she's frozen.
Oh, can you see me? Hear me? No? I'll wait. Oh no. I've got it. Am I back?
I'm back. Oh, you're back. You're back.
Okay, good. I was gonna say I looked down. I had full internet, so hopefully that was just a baby glitch there. No one judged me for the paint comment. So, all right. So moving into this week. Oh, Katie, we have 11 similar.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going with Atlanta, Seattle, Buffalo, Detroit, Tennessee, Kansas City, Miami, the New York Giants, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Dallas, Arizona, San Francisco, and I'm ending Monday night with my upset pick with Washington over Philly. Do it, Washington. I actually don't want Washington to get a win in the division, but just hand them their first loss. Maybe it'll put them on a downward spiral. And again, I don't want Washington to beat them, so to say, because I don't know if the Giants can beat them. So that would totally suck for us. But yeah, so that is my upset pick, clearly.
Okay.
And my lock, I'm going with you as well with Kansas City over Jacksonville.
Okay. All right. I'm cool with your upset happening.
Let's do it. Find a way. Find a way.
All right. Well, let's get into our big stories of the week in the world of Housewives. We will come back to football for our game. It is a good one, so make sure you stick around. But we have a nice little theme for Housewives this week. We were calling it Housewives Quick Hot Topics, Casting Rumor Mill Edition, because these are the biggest stories this week in Housewives, and they all have that running theme. So yesterday, a report from Bravo and Cocktails came out that cameras will already start rolling for season 4 of the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip at the start of the new year. It did say January 2023. They will start filming in Hong Kong.
It's like a wild location for that. Like, honestly, I would love to visit China, and like I would go to Hong Kong 100%. For like a Housewives trip, I gotta tell you, that's a little wild and crazy.
That's back-to-back Ultimate Girls Trip in Asia.
I know.
They were just in Thailand filming.
Yeah.
Now they're going to Hong Kong. Like, they're going big with these locations. I mean, the first one, like Tropical Beach. Second one, Bluestone Manor. And now we're freaking going to Thailand and Hong Kong.
That's what cracks me up.
Like, here's our budget for season 1 and season 2. Oh, people are watching? Okay, we're freaking going to Asia. Let's go.
It's like, it's on, you can just tell, like the one in like Bluestone Manor, it's like the budget near like the end of like, if you work in like corporate America, like the end of like a fiscal year, and you're like, you know what, like we need to figure it out. Like, you're staying at the Holiday Inn.
Frozen.
Oh no.
Oh, she's back. Okay.
I'm back.
So,
I was just joking. It's like, you're staying at the Holiday Inn this time around.
Yeah.
We're not.
Like, our holiday party is going to like be in the office now. We'll have a couple snacks. Like,
it's like, bring your own snacks. Like, we can afford them.
Everybody cook your own thing.
Just don't. Big potluck kind of thing. But then you guys in 3 months, we're going to town.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'd be so jealous. Like, unbelievable. But
I know
this one is going to have a theme. It is dynamic duos. So they're pulling 2 women from different franchises. So it will reportedly star Orange County's Emily Simpson and Gina Kirschenheiter, New Jersey's Margaret Josephs and Dolores Catania, Beverly Hills, Sutton Strack and Garcelle, and Potomac's Robin Dixon and Ashley Darby. So
I like this cast.
You know
I think
what?
it's a very good cast.
We're so used to seeing 2, like eventually they were going to run out, but in the beginning too, I also felt like they were trying to pull some faces that are no longer on Housewives anymore, where it was like, oh, we're going to bring them back, and it's like a nice little treat. These are all like current women. So
I think it's a really good cast.
They're going to like run out of people. Eventually they're going to run out of people to ask and bring on. So
yeah, I really like the cast. And I think I like the idea. I think we've seen a couple of themes of like maybe like 1 or 2 from each, like, or we've seen like 2 maybe women like this, that they stuck to it. Like 2 from each. Like, I liked that. Like, that was good.
What's good, and I know we've obviously spoken about it before. We've always, even before Ultimate Girls Trip was even a thing, we've always talked about wanting to see crossovers between franchises. And I think now that this is becoming like, we're going on season 4, I think it's only going to be good too for BravoCon when you have when you have these mixed panels. Like, we went to a mixed panel where it was like women from the different franchises, but now they actually have relationships and friendships. We're going to see Teresa's wedding. Like, there's going to be a wedding special. We're going to see like some of these women that she went to the Ultimate Girls Trip that she's close with now be invited to this wedding and be at this wedding. So I feel like at BravoCon, like, it's cool. I think if we end up seeing more episodes of regular Housewives episodes where, like, for example, a wedding, and now you're seeing, oh, well, I'm going to invite my friend from, this franchise.
Right.
I think that's cool. And it's only going to be happening more and more. A source has made claims to Us Weekly that a major casting shakeup is coming for season 13 of Beverly Hills. Caitlin, I feel like you need to give me everything you're feeling on this one, because there's a lot of moving pieces. But Diana Jenkins and Crystal Minkoff are both on the chopping block, and Bravo is supposedly also on the fence about Lisa Rinna and Kathy Hilton. I do have a quote specifically about them. They're leaning towards bringing Kathy back again as a friend because she is a fan favorite, but they're conflicted because Lisa is the show's antagonist, and that is a critical role. They're also taking the fan backlash surrounding Lisa into consideration. And then last but certainly not least, there are talks of bringing back both Brandy Glanville and Lisa Vanderpump. Caitlin, break this down for me. Give me all what are you feeling right now?
No, so Katie, I gotta tell you, I think I said it on a couple episodes back. I'm feeling what I felt years ago when I stopped watching Beverly Hills because of people like Lisa Rinna. I was getting fed up with them. I was getting fed up with Dorit because they were spewing all this nonsense. They were concocting shit that wasn't real. It led to Kyle Richards and Lisa Vanderpump having one of the biggest fallouts in Housewives history, will I mention, and Lisa Vanderpump leaving. And it's been a complete shit show since then, in my opinion. I know a lot of people have loved it since. So I'm not, surprised at all. Lisa Rinna.
By the way, I'm glad you mentioned Dorit because I missed that part. Dorit also was noted in this article saying that she might be demoted to a friend role.
Yeah, because she just doesn't bring anything anymore, and she's very annoying, and I don't like her. Lisa Rinna sucks. She was a not even like an antagonist, like you said. Like she was like a villain last season.
Well,
everything that I've seen,
antagonist is their nice word for villain, but like I get where they are going with that, but like honestly, there's enough drama. Sometimes we really and truly don't want or need a villain. Like they'll have their beef no matter what. We don't need someone who's like a true villain.
No. And I think she's really turned into that, to be honest. Like, I think at the beginning, it was definitely like a little kind of like, it was petty. It was maybe playful. It was whatever. It's women, drama, great. No, it really has turned into actually like malicious kind of activity, which I just don't like. Kathy Hilton, she came on. She was a little bit of a, I don't know what the right word is, but she gave a couple laughs because she's like kind of up in the stars and the clouds a little bit sometimes, but this season she did turn into a little bit of an instigator. So I think some people were seeing that, and she was not a full-time person. So we've talked about her contracts in the past on the show. So yeah, I'm not particularly surprised there. Brandy coming back is interesting. She was just on Girls Trip, I'm pretty sure. So that's probably sparked the interest there. I don't really like Brandy, to be honest. So she didn't do it for me when she was on the show. But I'm not surprised that they would be wanting to bring a familiar face like that. And then obviously Lisa Vanderpump, hell yeah, I will start watching it again if you bring her back.
I think I've said this before, so I might be repeating myself, but I almost feel like Ultimate Girls Trip 2 is like Bravo's test run of bringing some of these women back to the regular franchises. So it's like, okay, here's someone that's not in the show anymore, but people have like made comments that they want them back. Let's throw them on Ultimate Girls Trip, see how people react to them on that. And if it's positive and everybody loves them, we'll throw them back on their franchise. That's what I feel is happening right now.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely fair for sure. So we'll see. I think it is in need of a shakeup. So
yeah. Well, let's move over to Orange County. It ties in together with Beverly Hills. So Real Housewives of Orange County's Heather Dubrow is reportedly desperate to cross over and join Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after she sold her OC mansion and moved to a penthouse condo in LA. An insider told Star Magazine that Heather thinks she's a class above her OC castmates and would be a better fit with the Beverly Hills cast. Heather has also noted that because I think they asked her about this on BravoCon, like because she hadn't moved and people were like, "Oh, you should go over."
Yeah.
And so she has noted, yes, like I've been friends with Garcelle for a long time, and that she knows Lisa Rinna as well. So, what do you think? This is another one of your girls.
I know. So here's what I think about this. So I'm so mad at her because she just came back to Orange County, and I was so excited. And it was great. Like I liked this season. I took a hiatus from Orange County and I loved it when she came back. We also didn't talk about her selling her McMansion on the show. When that news came out, I was like, what the flying F? They spent like 9 years building this thing and then boom.
It sold for like $55 million, I think.
Yeah, Katie,
which is absurd. But also I think Bravo is pretty adamant, and I get that they're in California and it's the same state, but I feel like Bravo's pretty adamant of like, we want you on the franchise if you're actually living there. So,
right. So
she just came back. So I don't know.
I get it. I don't really like the comment of her saying she's a class above Orange County. Like, I got to tell you, like, the Beverly Hills women might be very rich, but they're some of the sleaziest and sloppiest people I've ever seen on television. So you can say that, Heather. Like, I really like you. And, like, you could definitely see where she's coming from like, the last season of Orange County. But kind of, be careful. I think we said just be careful what you wish for. Like, right. You might say that and then get in front of these women and be like, I would want to kill myself. So I don't know. Think about it, to be honest. But hey, if she went over to Beverly Hills and Lisa Vanderpump came back, Beverly Hills might be my brand new favorite franchise.
Yeah, maybe they both are there, right? And maybe they just become besties, and it's heaven for you.
It's like a whole new world for me. So we'll see. But I think it's a little, the whole selling of the house thing was kind of absurd. So I think it's just, probably this whole, like, I want to move. Like, it's a lot right now. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, wrapped it up. We had obviously a lot of casting stuff. We're going to see a little bit more probably in the future as, Bravo makes moves with what they want to see for the future for a lot of these franchises. And I did see too, I think New Jersey, they didn't set a date, but I think they are inching closer to giving us a firm date in 2023. So be on the lookout, people.
And I did, going off of last week's episode when we talked about the potential foreclosure of Kim Zolciak's house in Atlanta, that did sell in auction. So that is a donezo deal.
Dunzo. All right. Well, let's get into our game of the evening. We are playing Your NFL Dream Come True. So cue, what is it? The Lizzie McGuire movie. Hey now, this is what dreams are made of. Great song, by the way. Honestly, I listened to that the other day. It's really good. But this is your NFL Hey Now Dreams Come True. So we have played this in the past. We are going to give you our 2022-2023 season dream team and what players and head coach we would want at each position if we could have anyone just from this season. So honestly, too, we're just looking at this season. So if you're Tom Brady and you're 45 years old, it does not matter. We are just looking strictly at this season and performance thus far. So kind of taking all of that. It's not how they played 800 years ago. It's not how we think they're going to play in the future. It's right here. It's right now. So we are going to go through everything. I'll give you the positions that we're going through. We are going through head coach, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. We're looking at an offensive line. We're looking at a defensive line. We're looking at a linebacker, a cornerback, or a safety, a punter, and a kicker.
We got them all.
We got them all for you, people. So if you're playing a fantasy league that no one's ever heard of, where you actually do some shit like this, let us know. We'll do it next year. But let's go through them one by one. And we will start with head coach. Katie, who are you picking here?
I've always given this guy so much love because whether he was with his current team now or Philly in the past, he's always been a winner. I have to go with Kansas City's Andy Reid. And my honorable mention is going to go to the fact that I'm just really enjoying our time with Brian Daboll so far. So I like his vibes. I'm really enjoying him. And I just wanted to, he's not my pick, but I wanted to give him a shout out.
I do love that Brian Daboll is your honorable mention because he is actually my pick for this. I think it just goes to show, and I give him the utmost respect for coming into a New York Giants team that was very much a question mark going into this season. Yeah. And for people, it was a question mark, but for a lot of people, it was a question mark with a negative sign next to it. Like, we were going to suck this season. Yeah. I think you can truly see the players are playing for him. He knows what he's doing from a play call perspective. He's making risky decisions sometimes, but not decisions that make you want to pull your hair out. So for being a first year, coach with a team like the New York Giants, I think he's done an outstanding job. And I agree with you. I'm enjoying the time. And for me right now, I'd stick with it because I think it just proves his value and his talent as a head coach. So
yeah, well, I do think that if the Giants can, finish with a good regular season record, definitely if they make the playoffs, I think Brian Daboll's name is going to be in conversation for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. All right, let's go with quarterback. Who do you have?
I would have, totally been like Josh Allen. But I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. So I know I said that Josh Allen, I think I said it last week on our show, that I believe he's the front runner for MVP. But after 9 weeks of football, and this is like a fun fact that I feel like people didn't realize or know, Mahomes is beating Josh Allen out in every statistical category. He has a higher completion percentage. He has more touchdowns. He has less interceptions. He has more passing yards. I know we keep looking at Josh Allen and the Bills. They're such a great team, and he's, the large reason why. But Patrick Mahomes is doing his thing. He's always doing his thing. But I feel like everyone's like loves Josh Allen, and they kind of forget like Patrick Mahomes is still over there doing his thing. So I'm going with him.
So I am going with Josh Allen. So I am a part of the group that, loves him, sees everything like that.
I love him too.
I think obviously, statistically, that's great. You see the numbers on paper. You want that for sure. I think a lot of my picks this evening did go off of the numbers on the paper. What I see from Patrick Mahomes that kind of steered me away, and I saw this last year and I made a couple of comments on it. He makes a lot of, for the talented player that he is, I actually think he makes a lot of irresponsible plays sometimes, that he just kind of wings it over here because he's Patrick Mahomes. We see him throw these, blindsided, sidearm passes that sometimes, Katie, just miraculously get into the hands of his receiver. That's really not real, in my opinion. And you see him try to force a run. You see him try to force a pass sometimes. I think Josh Allen is actually a little bit more analytical in his mind, or is thinking about things like 2 steps ahead of the whatever happens. And don't get me wrong, I actually think this past weekend Josh Allen played a little too aggressively. He is actually hurt with his elbow. He kind of made some silly decisions this past week. But on the record, Patrick Mahomes, when I watch him from last year going into this year, and I know we're just talking about this year, I'm still seeing it though, he does just make some irresponsible plays, in my opinion. And
I have a completely different view on that. I think what he does is some Houdini shit. And I think like nobody else can do it besides Patrick Mahomes. And he's able to keep plays alive more than any other quarterback in the league. So I view it completely opposite.
I just don't know if I'm up with the Houdini vibes here.
I'll take the Houdini vibes all day.
All right. Excuse me. Let's move into running back. Who do you got?
This was a close one for me between Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb. I'm going to go with Derrick Henry because I feel like there are games that he can just completely take over, and there's just no stopping him. And when he has a game like that, which happens, multiple times this season, it's just like he's the ultimate running back weapon you can have.
Yeah, so I'm going with Nick Chubb, and this is basically just off of a real life experience of the New York Giants playing the Tennessee Titans and actually shutting Derrick Henry down. Katie, I didn't think it was possible.
He probably still had 80-something rush yards, which isn't yes, that's shutting Derrick. You have to realize what you're saying, though, like shutting him down.
Well, it's shutting him down.
If a man's getting 80 yards and people are considering that shutting down, that means that you're an absolute freak.
No, because he is an absolute freak. He is. But what I've seen from Nick Chubb this season is that it's there. It's there every game for him. He's leading the league for a reason, and he's blowing, people out of the water. And
I'm pretty positive Derrick Henry is
now leading the league. I did not know that.
Yes.
Oh, I thought Nick Chubb was still blowing people out of the water here. But so I think we've seen and that's not like we saw that with the New York Giants. I think Derrick Henry, again, from a couple of other games, Still not, and again, we're talking about superheroes here, so it's
we
really
love to have either one of them.
Here, anyone come our way. So, all right, let's move into wide receiver, and I'd hope we have the same answer here, but
well, we have to after what I texted you earlier today.
I was just say it was based off our conversation.
Yeah. So earlier today, I was making all my picks for this game, and I had to text Caitlin because I was like, first off, how did I not realize this was happening?
Yeah.
And second, like these numbers are just absolutely stupid. So I guess we're both talking about Miami's Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
So right now, he has over 1,100 receiving yards, which for any wide receiver in the league to finish the regular season with 1,100 is a phenomenal season.
Right.
He's got it already going into week 10. He's averaging 122 receiving yards per game. That's on pace for over 2,000 receiving yards by the end of the regular season. He already has 100 catches, which again, if somebody had 100 catches by the end of the regular season, that's a phenomenal year. This man has already put up the most beautiful stat line that you could have for a full season after 9 games.
Yeah.
I'm dumbfounded. I knew he was doing big things. Maybe if like Jalen Waddle wasn't next to him also doing big things and it was just him, like you would be laser focused on what he's doing. But I had no idea it was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like what we were talking earlier, you know, one of the reasons why I knew his numbers were so outstanding is because one of the stats that I saw is that he was doing better than teams collectively. Like literally like that, like let's pool all our wide receivers together. He's just out and like they're putting teams together too. And
he was able to pool the Giants receivers, you know, receiving yards.
No, that was the thing. They were doing, it was the Giants were on the list because we don't have anyone. The Giants and like 2 other teams, he's more than that. Like an actual team, like him by himself. And that, because when you had texted me, I was like, you know what? I knew it was something, but I didn't know the exact numbers, but I knew it was crazy because I saw that like last week. And I was like, how are you just like beating teams at this point? Like, you as a human being. Oh my God. All right, let's go into our position that we always love talking about because it is a unique position. It's always kind of the same names that are showing up here and there. So you got the tight end here. No, you're fine.
It is. But you know what? Like what's kind of not fun about doing this one for this game is this season, it's just not even close. It's Travis Kelce.
It's 100% Travis Kelce. He is the only tight end.
Mix him with wide receivers and tight ends. He's 7th in the league right now in receiving yards. He's already got 7 touchdowns. I know we always look at guys like George Kittle, who's, you know, been a bit banged up this season. And when he has played, he really hasn't been doing George Kittle numbers. Mark Andrews is hurt right now. Before that, he was having a good season and everything like that. But there's just no one compared to Travis Kelce.
No one.
It really isn't.
No. Yeah. And that's like what we've done in the past. It's like 5 or 6 guys that we are comparing and kind of having a difficult time. And that's great. But no, you're right. It's this year. It's all to Travis Kelce.
Yep.
All right. We are looking at our offensive line now. So we're looking at a team collectively here for their O-line.
I think my ultimate dream of this dream team game would be that I would be saying like that the New York Giants had the best offensive line in football. I would die to live in that world.
Same.
And unfortunately, makes it even worse that I'm going to say my pick is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Me too, Katie. Oh my God. But you look at it and it's funny because when preparing for the game tonight, you're looking at what other analysts are saying. And Katie, the common theme that I saw throughout different articles and different tweets and things like that is that people were trying to rip apart the Eagles offensive line, but they couldn't. They were trying to nitpick them in any way, shape, or form they could, but they physically couldn't find any area where they were not good. So, and I just think it's interesting because you look at, you know, you have a veteran like Jason Kelce on there, but you have new guys like Landon Dickerson from Alabama.
Really well.
Yeah, Landon Dickerson from Alabama's on there as well. And, he's coming off a torn ACL, didn't really see much action last year. He fit in seamlessly this year for that team. So a young player like that, and the other guys they have lined up there are just really freaking talented. So
yeah. We've said it on the show a gajillion times that the value we place, especially as Giants fans, knowing what it's like to have a good one and knowing what it's like to have a bad line for as many seasons as we've had now. I look at it as like, yes, there's quarterback and then it's offensive line. Like that's the most important part, unit.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you've got an 8-0 undefeated Philadelphia Eagles team. So I would kill to have a top offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move over to the defensive side of things. Defensive line, who you got?
Very important to have a good defensive line as well. This is, a top defense in the league. I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, no, definitely like their defense, of course. I'm going to go with Buffalo on this one. I really like what I'm seeing. Again, if you're looking at protection from the, just really advancing on the other team. I think Buffalo was one of the teams like early on, like we were just talking about, like, yes, they are a juggernaut right now, but you could see the successes in every point of the team. Right now, defensively, I think they're doing that as well. So
yeah.
All right, let's move into linebacker. Who do you have?
Well, we don't have a D end leading the league in sacks right now. We do have a linebacker, and I'm going to go with him. I'm going with New England Patriot Matthew Judon. He's got 11 and a half sacks right now heading into week 10.
Yeah, so sacks are good, and my guy I actually picked isn't fully there yet, but I think he's going to get there. I went with
Nick Bosa.
No. So I'm going with Baltimore's Roquan Smith on this one.
Yes.
So,
and sorry, Nick Bosa is a defensive end, so forget what I'm saying.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. Roquan is a very good pick as well.
So, and the reason why behind it, he only has like 2.5 sacks on the season. We are going into week 10, so let's give it some time here. His tackle, Katie, he's got upwards of like 85 tackles on the season so far. And a lot of them are solo. So I always look at assisted and solo. He's got his solo tackles are just out, and his average per game, he's really getting out there. So the 2.5 sacks, actually, it's a lower end for him. It's gonna get a lot bigger through, near the end of the season.
What I want to say about that, by the way, is when it comes to linebackers, I know I picked Matthew Judon. He's got 11 and a half sacks. That's amazing. When it comes to linebackers, you're looking at tackles more so over sacks. I know you say 2.5, like, okay, sure, he could have more, but the tackles is what matters. Like you, as a linebacker, you're the quarterback of the defense. You've got to be in on every play. Like you've got to be, in on every tackle. The tackles to me is the difference maker at the linebacker position. So even if you ended the year with 2.5 sacks, you want more, but we know the presence of Roquan Smith, and he is that guy that's in on every play.
Yeah, he'll definitely be getting more, though. I can definitely see it. It's there. He's pressuring, so it's coming. So, all right, let's go with the cornerback and the safety position here.
I am going to go with Rams, Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, he's a player that I definitely have liked to make fun of in the past, or maybe say he's not that good, but he is a good player. He is. You don't want to go up against him. You don't want your players to go up against him because he is a chirper and everything like that. But the Giants have seen that firsthand. But yeah, so. But I'm actually going to go with the Eagles' Darius Slay here on this one. A lot of good stuff we've seen. But it's also interesting because the Eagles did get James Bradberry from the New York.
He's playing really well for them.
I know. So he's technically my honorable mention. So it's crazy that I've got 2 Eagles back to back here. But I didn't want to not call out James Bradberry because you're absolutely right. Like, he did good things for the Giants, but that transfer.
I'm gonna say, not surprised though. Like we loved him for the Giants. He plays for the Giants. That was more so a thing of just having to free up money and everything like that. We would kill to still have James Bradberry. He's a baller.
Yeah, so I think that the two of them are actually really complimenting each other, and good for you guys. So, love to see it. All right, let's go with punter. So, I mean,
it's a hard one to analyze, but I'm going to go with Carolina's Johnny Hecker.
Yeah, is he the kid that has the longest punt or like the longest yardage? I think one of them has like
he's definitely like he's up there. I kind of statistically like to look at punts inside the 20.
okay.
I know he's up there in that. I know he's always like a Pro Bowl punter, like a veteran punter. So
yeah, I don't know. I basically went off like percentage and like who people were saying was good. I got to tell you, this was not my expertise level. I just went with Tennessee's Ryan Stonehouse here. So it's one of those positions. But hey, the Giants, what's his name? James Gillen?
Yeah.
Whatever. He's up, Katie. He's up there.
Basically, he's up there. So I've been happy with him.
I've been very pleased with what I've seen.
What? The Giants kind of always like they rotate punters a lot. They're
like good.
We have a new one, but not for nothing. I feel like we always have had pretty good like top end punters.
They have like a weird like where they like get bad near the end though. Like Riley Dixon was really good, and then he had like really like near like it was like bad, and then we had what was his name? Brad.
Yeah, Brad Wing.
Yeah, from LSU, and he played with Odell. He was really, really good.
Yeah, Steve. We were fortunate to have Steve Weatherford for as long as we did.
And like they kind of like.
But then, like if they start sucking, and then we bring in a new guy, and all of a sudden, then he's great. So
right, I mean, I'm cool with that. Like let's just like keep getting fresh legs out there. So, all right, and then kicker. I hope you have the same as me.
My note says this one will never be up for discussion.
No.
It is Baltimore's Justin Tucker.
Absolutely. Even though he did miss a field goal in the game against the Giants. So thank you for that.
Yeah, so he's missed 2 on the season. I don't care. I genuinely do not give a shit what the stats look like for kickers right now. I don't need to see it. It's always Justin Tucker.
Absolutely.
Good game. So
that way, it's good. Yeah.
That point in the night where we are going to get it off our chest, positive, negative, football, housewives, life, wine. Caitlin, what do you have for us this week?
Yeah, so we're in the Thanksgiving is what 2 weeks away at this point, which I'm not ready. I'm hosting. I'm not ready at all. Like I don't know what to do. Like I got to figure it out. Like today, you know what I mean?
You got to cook. You got to make it nice.
I do. I honestly have to. Decorating, I'm pretty good. I'm a pretty pumpkin household for Halloween, so it's kind of just like shifting some of the pumpkins to like not the spooky side. So I'm pretty good. But yeah, so in like the season of giving and being grateful and everything like that, Katie and I love bringing up when football players, housewives, any just famous person is really giving back their time, giving back their money because they're in a position that people could never even think of. So I'm going to call out Patriots defensive end Lawrence Guy because I've actually never seen something like this. So his family hosted a baby shower at Gillette Stadium for local single mothers. So basically the event included, there was over $50,000 in product donations as, these just single mothers in the area were able to come because Katie, if you think about it, baby showers are, I guess, they're glamorous, I would say. Like you really have to be fortunate to have these events with families and friends. And if you think about a single mother, no matter what the situation is, the reason why she's a single mother, they might not have the luxury of having a party and it might not be, Katie, a celebratory thing to where you're having a child, but it just might be happening. So, him and his family did all of this stuff with, $50,000 of products. You think about strollers, cribs, car seats, they're so expensive to see all of that. So they welcomed all of these single mothers into the stadium. They were able to take home all of this stuff. I read a stat one time to where the amount of mothers that or like just families leaving the hospital from, having a baby that don't have a car seat, like legally you have to leave but people can't afford it. Like the stat is wild that they don't have it to go. So I have never seen a fundraiser like this before. You see people giving back whether it's to obviously people that, need help, things like that. But it's just something that never clicked in my mind. And it just goes to show like how fortunate I am and like how privileged I am in certain areas where I've seen many females, many family members, and, families that I'm close to have these things where they can get these things gifted to them. They can afford their own things like that. So just hats off to him and his family for thinking of, something that we might have not have thought of. The pictures are really awesome. It seems like a really awesome event. And I commented on the post, right? It was on like NFL, like posted it, but
I did see it on social media. Yeah.
I couldn't help myself. I don't really comment a lot like on Instagram on like big accounts because who's going to see my post? I couldn't help it. I just commented. I was like, this is amazing. Like I loved it. I really did. So just hats off to, to Lawrence Guy and his family, like really smart. And thanks to the Patriots and Gillette Stadium for letting him host it. So it looked like it was super successful. So just again, in this giving season, I love propping up players, housewives, other people that are doing stuff like this. So
absolutely. Truly amazing. Mine is
not amazing.
Yeah. I'll let you go second. Mine is just about football. It's a little bit, it's about Kadarius Toney. Obviously, he was traded from the New York Giants to Kansas City. This past weekend was his first game with KC. He had 2 catches for 12 yards. I wasn't really expecting him to get super involved in the offense, considering that, yes, he is still learning a brand new offense. But, we didn't really touch on it too much on the show here. We don't really even need to go into the details of it now. But when he was traded, he kind of like made small little rumblings, small little comments about, the Giants and everything like that. And I could understand the frustration of we were almost frustrated as fans of like, we drafted him in the first round. Like, why aren't we using him? Why aren't we? We saw sparks of it. We saw little sparks and we were like, we want more. We just, It never panned out. And maybe we will never know why unless we're actually in the New York Giants building and a part of that organization. But first off, don't make your little comments. Like, you haven't done anything in the league yet to like act like you are who you are. I don't care if you were drafted in the first round. Right. There's guys who were drafted in the 6th, 7th round, guys that were not drafted that have done more than you so far. And number 2 is, and you said it earlier in the show, I forget in reference to what, but like, be careful what you wish for. I just have this feeling, and hey, I could be completely wrong. I just have this feeling like he's not going to do anything in Kansas City. I know some people saw that trade and like went out and drafted him on fantasy. I was like, I don't think he's going to do anything.
Yeah.
We said it last week when we were talking about all the trades, and we said, I said that I think, I was surprised Kansas City picked him up because I just think they have too many weapons. There's too many guys that need the ball over there. And now you're adding him into the mix. He's going to make his little rumblings in his comments about not, getting whatever in New York. I don't know if you're going to see it in KC. Mm-hmm. So, yes, it's going to be fun to win in Kansas City. It's going to be fun to contend for a Super Bowl. But I just don't know how big of a piece Kadarius is going to be. So I think he's talented. I'd like to see him go to a different team where he might be utilized more.
Yeah.
But I just hate when people like make their comments and like just be a professional, be an adult. You could say that shit behind closed doors. You don't need to get on Twitter and like tweet your shit.
No.
But I'm just going to wait for him to like eventually bitch about, his situation in KC, because that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. And like I 100% agree with you there. And it's also like, I'd like to point out, like, as Giants fans, the situation happens, you move on for it. He did have sparks of talent. So you'd like to see the kid actually produce on another team, whatever. Yeah. Like you had said, go to another team where you might do something and kind of, pan out a little bit more. But yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So I
think he's going to get lost over there. There's too much over there.
And And maybe just kind of hold the phone until you're a couple games in or something.
And then if I'm wrong, I'll come on this show and be like, damn, I was wrong.
Hey, we've done it. We both have done it before. We are open to our mistakes. It's whatever if we have freezing cold takes, we come out and say that. So it's not, we both have had them in the past. So it's definitely, but hey, I agree with you. So I will come back with you and say,
okay. All right.
It was cold. It was cold. So all righty. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode of The Real Football Fans of New Jersey. Just a couple of things for you guys to not miss as we move into this weekend of college football, of week 10, of NFL, of the Housewives. Keep going here. Salt Lake City is on tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Just a reminder, we do go live on Wednesdays. So if you're listening to the podcast, that's when it is. Real Housewives of Potomac is on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. NFL Week 10, here are your primetime games. You have Thursday Night Football, Atlanta at Carolina. Sunday Night Football is the Chargers at San Francisco. And Monday Night Football, you have this matchup that I am thinking maybe it'll be an upset. You have Washington at Philadelphia. College football, another really spicy weekend for you. This number doesn't roll off the tongue easy for me, but number 9, Alabama versus number 11, Ole Miss. You got number 17, Tulane versus number 22, UCF. Number 4, TCU, holy guac, people, is versus number 18, Texas. And you also have number 6, Oregon versus number 25, Washington. So that's a really awesome slate for you guys. Honestly, I don't know what I'm thinking this weekend. We'll see what happens. I'm not over it because I like the different teams that are good this year. I just don't like that Alabama's not good. So with that being said, thank you guys as always for joining us for The Real Football Fans of New Jersey, and have a great weekend. It's fall, so get your favorite sweater, get your favorite blanket, grab a glass of wine, tune into football, Housewives, anything you want this weekend. But we will catch you next time.